Hello everybody, this is Phil and I'm doing a video about Antifa and sort of philosophy. Right now you caught me while I'm driving home and what's left of Michael, the outer band's hitting Virginia now. A little windy, a little rainy, so bear with me. I'll try to speak as clear as possible. I'm not a linguist. That's why I love writing so much. I come from a large family, lots of yelling, lots of fights for the food. You can understand. I'm one of those big European families from Ireland. I say that in jest. But anyways, with the left's violence coming to a head and getting worse and worse, the violence so far, with the exception of Scalise getting shot and the Republicans getting shot at that baseball field in Alexandria, the left's violence is not as bad as you would expect or suspect when you basically gauge it to history. The 50s marches, the 60s marches and protests on the Capitol, and what have you, the bombing of the Weather Underground, all the domestic terrorist groups that sprung out of the 60s. And if you know contemporary American history, you know that it's not that violent at all yet. Knock on wood. When Antifa is allowed to operate after being called a terrorist group, and anyone that ascribes to who they are and wears black, and they commit terroristic attacks or terroristic acts, such as impeding one's movement, which is automatic kidnapping, stopping someone's vehicle, yelling up in someone's face, harassing them when you have a right to protest also. You have to look at the law to protect yourself. As soon as they stop you from moving and they're yelling in your face, that is automatic kidnapping, which is a violent offense. And therefore, if you are in fear of your life, you can use deadly force to stop the threat, make good your escape, and then talk about it later. Whether it's in an interrogation room, whether it's in an interview room and you're the actual victim, it does not matter. The idea is you do not let anyone stop you. And they claim, oh, they have a right to protest and stop your movement. Oh, they're just at it again. They're allowed to burn down some trash cans or burn down some houses or some businesses. It does not work that way. You, as an American citizen, wherever you roam in a public space, have the right and duty to defend yourself and even use deadly force. I don't care if it's New York City. I don't care if it's LA. I don't care if it's some enclave in Minnesota. Okay? Muslim enclave, you're not allowed to visit. If it's a free public space and it's not private property, no one can stop you from frequenting public spaces. There are so many points about the law that many people have to take into consideration. You have a right to be wherever you want. And people cannot just protest on private property or guarded public property that is basically for essential employees, government employees, who have to carry out their daily duties, or a communication depot where That communication center is there for the public good and the public safety. Or, let's say, a police officer or a police department, weapons depot, okay, or evidence depot. Those right there are basically sensitive areas, okay? You can add to that basically the states and local court systems along with the federal court systems. So if you are basically going to work or you're visiting one of those tourist sites in D.C. and one of those monuments, you have a right to be there, and people don't have the right to attack you or stop and impede your movement. It's called kidnapping, especially when they do it with nefarious means in mind, especially when they are attacking you verbally, especially when one or more or a group of people surround you where it is no longer safe for you and your body and your family. You, in essence, have a right to stand your ground anywhere in the United States and defend yourself. Do I want to get hit by some 16 or, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old punk? No. Do I want to get hit by any Antifa member or any college puke? No. But I will defend myself. Even if it's a guy 100 pounds lighter than me, I have a right to defend my life. And I feel sorry for that person that's 100 pounds lighter than me, because I am not going to play around when they impede my movement. It's that simple. That's what America was made for. It's called freedom. You have a right to protest any government you want in the United States, but you don't have the right to do it violating other people's rights. So older people in Oregon, where a lot of the Antifa were blocking traffic and whatnot, the older people should be a little bit more concerned, know what America stands for, and defend it. Okay? If not defending it with their lives, they should at least have enough gumption to get the hell out of Dodge or sit there and fight. Some of the veterans know what I'm talking about, and they will sit there and fight to the end. Then you have to look at Antifa having free reign to do what they want. You have to know the politics of what's going on. With Jeff Sessions in the DOJ, he should be investigating these police departments and what are their orders or communications between the police department and these Antifa protesters, letting them have carte blanche to run the streets without being arrested, to harass fellow citizens and fellow passersby. That right there is RICO, okay? Racketeering and organized crime, especially when it's a terrorist group. Antifa, or the political heads of Antifa, telling the police department what they're going to do, telling the governor or the mayor of some city that you're going to tell your police officers to leave us alone. Okay, we're going to do what we're going to do, and they will be okay. We won't harm them if they leave us alone. It doesn't work that way. That violates about every equal protection under the law clause you can think of. As well, that police department is one corrupt police department to let it happen. The DOJ and a lot of kick-ass lawyers, hey, I admit it, lawyers are probably 10 times smarter than me, but I see a big picture. A lot of lawyers see what they read in front of them, and they can read the Bible in 5 minutes. Okay, I salute them. But a lot of kick-ass lawyers need to step up and start actually investigating and actually contacting the mayor of these cities, the police department chiefs of the police, all the officials, the white shirts and above, lieutenant and above, and actually do a thorough investigation and interview these guys and demand basically all communications from anything that has to do with Antifa. any of the leftist political groups affiliated with Antifa. And these political heads, from George Soros to Clinton to Bill Clinton, all the way down. There's numerous names in the media that are under Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton that are spreading all this basically Saul Alinsky Marxist propaganda. And that goes to my last point. If you read Rules for Radical and you know Saul Alinsky, you know you cause urban strife and you demonize your opponent and you have people pitted against each other. And what does Antifa do? They try to beat up, the most honest person walking down the street. It could be a pregnant lady. And they don't care because they want someone else to lash out back. And then the propaganda with the media is going to say, oh, this nice white bread citizen or this nice, white American killed these protesters who were just organizing and, protesting and, enjoying their rights to protest. And then it snowballs and they hope for more and more people, especially numerical ethnic minorities, to lash out back. And then you have what? A civil war. This has been tried before 1,000,000 times all over the world. Some have succeeded, some have not. So, where is our federal government investigating these state corporate cities or mayors or governors that are allowing this terrorist interaction with their own government, their own state government, their own local government? That's what has to happen, and the DOJ has to be cleaned up entirely. And the people, a lot of kick-ass fucking lawyers, have to go with a fine-tooth comb and demand all communications between that police department or that governor's office or that mayor's office or all of them, and demand the evidence of what Antifa or these leftist political heads that run Antifa, a terrorist group, have said to them. And then I guarantee you about half of the officials can be arrested legally and quietly and safely. A lot more all at once in one big roundup. So, what's being done? Trump is doing great with the economy and what have you, but because of this Russia bullshit, he should have nipped it in the bud by now. And he's probably waiting till after the November election, November 6th election. But I don't see him, occasionally he'll send some fanfare, Jeff Sessions, what the hell are you doing? Look at this. Hillary is doing this, or Mueller is doing that, or Rosenstein was doing that, and now he's best friends with Rod Rosenstein? Okay, Rod Rosenstein is basically handling Mueller and the alleged Russian collusion investigation. Okay, well, Trump feels he's clear from the Russian collusion hoax, and it is a hoax. But he still has the duty for our safety to clean house in the DOJ and FBI and make sure actual investigations are being made now. RICO investigations with all these corrupt politicians too. In Congress, out of Congress. The SES heads. Okay? The CIA, the FBI. You name it. How about the IRS? Have you heard anything back from the IRS and all the rights they violated back in, 2014? I'm sorry, before that, 2011, 2012? When the Tea Party became big, and then they were talking about how Obama's IRS was targeting them, so they couldn't be nonprofit anymore. Okay, what happened to all that? I know a lot of things are going on behind the scenes, but this stuff that is in your face, this terroristic activity going on in Oregon in particular, and a lot of other cities, don't get me wrong, with Antifa needs to stop. They are a terrorist group. They should be treated as such. Okay? They approach a car and block a car in, they should be shot. That's what you do with terrorists. You don't sit there and negotiate with them, and you don't play tiddlywinks with them. And then, like I heard at one talk show today, okay, you try to evade them, they block you, you run them the fuck over. You go down a couple blocks where you know you're 100% safe, and you call 911 and said, yeah, they attacked my car, and I feared for my life. I don't know how those people are back there. Are there injuries? Please come and take my police report. I was attacked. That's how you should do it. But why should you even have to do that if the local police, the local mayor, and the governor of that state is protecting you? They're not. So it's up to Trump to clean up DOJ right now and start official RICO action against them. When you lock up half of a city and half of a state government for RICO, okay, I don't care if they're the opposite political party or not. People will start to get the message, you're not playing around anymore. So far, I'm fed up with a lot of things because Trump is not being harder like he said he would against the Clintons. We keep on talking about Bill and Hillary Clinton having the freedom to go start all kinds of speeches somewhere, paid speeches, $10,000 a plate. And they still have this freedom, but they embezzled, okay, basically, or laundered over, I think they stopped counting $3 billion since 2001. Okay, that's not counting all the deaths. That's not counting Bill Clinton's pecker and the rapes he committed. That's not counting the pedophilia with Epstein Island. Okay, which was nothing but a harem for rich people to go and screw children. That's how disgusting they are, and I'm tired of hearing them, and that they're still free doing whatever they want. And the thing is, this is what I'm very upset with the Clintons. Okay, it's been about 2 years since the last election. We have another election coming up in about a year and a half. Okay, Hillary Clinton is still spurning this civil discontent and this civil violence she is spurring. And then she's going to hide behind her political affiliation and say, oh, Donald Trump's America is now attacking me for my politics. Don't you hear that more and more out of her voice? There's nothing else she can defend. But that's why she's getting away with murder now. She's in plain view, in your face, basically laughing at you. And she's going to hide behind the politics of it and say, oh, this is just an attack on her. Well, if Trump acted a little sooner with Sessions and got rid of him, okay, and perhaps put Rosenstein on the chopping block, who was second in command at DOJ, okay, got rid of him, then the next person in line could start truthfully collating all the evidence against the Clintons. And it would have been done sooner, this little backlash, oh my God, it's the politics, you're attacking me because I'm a leftist. Well, they're going to say that anyways, regardless, Trump. So, anywho, open your mind about Antifa and know that there are laws that are not being enforced right now. And that's where Trump is going to have trouble if he lets this get out of the hand. And it is to a certain degree. What I don't like is actual, God-fearing citizens minding their own business being attacked for no reason when it could have been nipped in the bud sooner. That's what it comes down to. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a good evening this very rainy day. Hurricane Mike is over Northern Virginia right now, and it's just raining a lot. But be safe out there. Have a good evening.